Hey everybody, Cinema Sickness here with your daily sickness video, and happy Saturday to each and every one of you. Hopefully you guys are having an absolutely fantastic weekend thus far, and if you are, hopefully it continues to go well. And if you're having a crappy weekend, well, I hope your weekend gets much better. It's the weekend. Cheer up, have some fun, make the best of it. And what I have in store for you today is some reviews. I've been watching a lot of great stuff over the last week, and we're going to take a look at what I've been watching, and I'll just give you my very quick thoughts on each of these. But like always, before I do that, of course, let me say, warning, possible spoiler alerts. I do just randomly talk about movies, and what comes out of my mouth is just what comes out of my mouth. Sometimes I do spill the beans a bit and give away spoilers. Not all the time. I try not to, but it happens. So you've been warned. There's always the possibility when I review a movie. So let's get down to it and take a look at what I've been checking out. And the first title here we have this, God damn it, I can't talk today. First title we have here to talk about is the 41-year-old virgin who knocked up Sarah Marshall and felt super bad about it. Wow, what a long-ass title that is. But this is actually the type of spoof movie I enjoy, as opposed to, was it 30 Nights of Paranormal Activity with the girl with the dragon, whatever that crap movie was I watched in the last review video I did. That was horrible. That was garbage. I did not like that film because there's really no story. It's very, 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 very light on the story and just more about like, oh, here's another movie reference, here's another movie reference, here's another movie reference. It's constant movie references thrown at you with just a tiny little sliver of a story to kind of hold it all together. Whereas a movie like this one, it's more of a story, yes, still with constant winks and nods and spoofs of other movies. Of course, that's what these movies do. But at least this has an actual story and it follows a plot, and I kind of, to an extent, get invested in what's going on. I mean, yeah, it's a spoof movie, so I'm only getting invested so much. But regardless, it's still at least a story that I can get somewhat invested into, as opposed to just a spoof movie that's nothing but just constant references and really no plot going on whatsoever. This is the kind of spoof movie I enjoy. This is the kind of spoof movie that's definitely a guilty pleasure for me. As I said in the past, spoof movies, they're a guilty pleasure. I would definitely have to say very much a guilty pleasure of mine, spoof movies. I do tend to enjoy them to at least some extent. I certainly don't think they're great movies. Definitely not. They're usually pretty bad, and this is not a great movie, but I am a sucker for them, so I actually somewhat enjoy this one. I would say if you're into spoof movies, if you're like me, if spoof movies are a guilty pleasure for you, then this is actually somewhat of a decent one as far as spoof movies are concerned anyway. And I actually held off on watching this for a while because it got to the point where I sort of stopped watching spoof movies because the more of them I watched, the more of them just became, again, constant references to other movies. They're just reference movies where they weren't so much spoof movies, they were just reference movies. There was very little plot. It was just constant references to other films and spoofs of other films. And I don't really want that in a spoof movie. I want an actual plot that I can at least somewhat get involved in and then laugh at all the spoofs being made. And that's what we get here. So I held off on watching this. I thought it was going to be garbage, and ended up turning out to be, as far as, again, spoof movies are concerned, actually one of the better ones. So I'd recommend it if you are into spoof movies. Of course, if you're not into spoof movies, then you're not going to want to go anywhere near that one because you're going to hate the hell out of it. Then I actually went out to the theater with my wife. We don't do Valentine's Day actually on Valentine's Day. We do it the following weekend because, let's face it, trying to go to the, dinner and a movie or something like that on Valentine's Day is just asking for a huge pain in the ass event because everybody else and their mom is trying to go out and do the same exact thing. So we do it the following weekend. It's much more manageable to go out the following weekend and celebrate Valentine's Day then. So, got her some roses. We went out and got some dinner, and then we went to see 50 Shades of Grey. And we did all this in the middle of a snowstorm. So, yes, I went and saw 50 Shades of Grey, and I risked my life to do it. I could have very easily died going to see 50 Shades of Grey. If that had happened, I don't even know what to say. If I would, somebody like me who just enjoys the ever-loving hell out of watching movies and just, it's his passion. Watching movies is his passion. If I would have died going to see a movie like 50 Shades of Grey, I would have had to have somehow found a way to resurrect myself just so I could have re-killed myself, because it would have been that ridiculous. So what did I think of the movie? You're probably thinking at this point that I hated it. I actually have to say, it's not my type of movie. So was I all wrapped up and did I enjoy it? Was I all excited about the movie? No, it's not my type of film. It wasn't necessarily something I was all about. But I had been hearing such bad things about it. So many people ripping this movie apart, just giving it a new one, just one horrible review after another on 50 Shades of Grey. And after watching it, I thought to myself, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. It wasn't an absolutely horrible, wretched movie. It kept me, I will say, it kept me entertained. I at least got involved in the characters and what was going on, and was it like 2 hours long, or over 2 hours long possibly. It somewhat flew by because, you know, I could get myself invested in the story. It wasn't necessarily boring or anything like that. So I will say, all in all, it was mediocre. It was okay, I suppose. If it's something you want to see, if you're like, I gotta see 50 Shades of Grey, then go out and see it. If it's nothing you want to see, then you don't need to see it, because it's not really all that great of a movie. If it's your thing, you might get some enjoyment out of it. If it's not your thing, then you're not gonna like it. It's very, very simple like that. I had never read the book. I really didn't know much about the story. Kind of creepy. This guy seducing this very young girl, you know, de-virginizing her. Spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't seen it, but de-virginizing her and the creepy things he does with his like toy room and stuff, and it's just kind of like, what the hell? And making her trying to make her to sign that contract. Just the fact that this girl goes along with this stuff, because as things progress in this movie, this guy just gets creepier and creepier and creepier, to the point where I'm like, anybody who was sane would get the fuck out of there. Like, this guy seems like a total psychopath. There's actually part of the, I kept like, I was actually having fun a bit spoofing the movie. I was just like heckling the movie, I guess I should say. It was like riff tracks for me. I was just having so much fun, like constantly leaning over to Miss Sickness and like whispering funny things in her ear. You know, there were scenes where like just creepy scenes where he's like seducing this girl, and I'm like, I swear, if he puts on Huey Lewis in the News, she better get out of there. You know, things like that. Like, I totally was expecting like him to go like American Psycho on her and just start hacking her with a chainsaw or something. It was disturbing. This movie could have very easily gone from, you know, what you know about the movie, this somewhat sexy, really racy movie about like dominatrix and stuff like that. It could have very easily gone from that to like a slasher film, like just with a snap of a finger. This movie was very starting to definitely go in that slasher movie, you know, direction. It was weird, and just, that's the best way to describe this movie. It was weird. I mean, so much of it just made you feel really uncomfortable watching. That's the thing. I watch horror movies all the time. Watch people get like slashed to death or like brutally murdered or tortured, and I'm like, okay. I watched this movie and I felt like uncomfortable. I was like, ugh. Like every time a sex scene came on, I was like, I feel really weird. Like I just watching this, it just feels wrong. I don't know. Yeah, so kind of definitely a bit of a creepy movie, I'd have to say. Unfortunately, the movie ends on a cliffhanger. And why I say unfortunately is because I'm like, well, damn it, now I kind of want to know what happens. Like, I will fully admit that. Now I'm kind of like, well, hell, now I got to see the next movie, because you can't, I'm not going to sit here for 2 hours and watch a movie and like learn about these characters and find out what's going on and get somewhat involved in the story, and then you end on a cliffhanger. I have no idea what happens, so guess I got to see the sequel now, because I got to know what happens. I want to know what happens now. It's going to bug me if I don't at least know what the rest of the story is. So just simple way of telling you what to think about this movie. Again, if it's something you want to see, if you're like, I want to check out 50 Shades of Grey, then see it. Why not see it? If it's something you think you're going to like, you might just like it. I mean, I know a lot of people are bashing it. Apparently it differs from the book. But again, if it's something you want to see, then definitely check it out. There's really no reason not to check it out if you want to see it. Because again, it wasn't all that bad in my opinion. But if you have no interest in seeing 50 Shades of Grey, then you do not need to see this movie, because it really wasn't all that good. Again, it wasn't all that bad, but it wasn't all that good. So, yeah, you really have no need to see this movie if you have no interest in seeing it whatsoever. But, again, be warned. I'd have to say it wasn't nearly as bad as as everybody's making it out to be, in my opinion. So anyway, I just talked way too long about 50 Shades of Grey, but like I said, it wasn't all that horrible of a movie. Just wasn't all that great of a movie either. So then, of course, I had to test out my new CDI player. So excited to have one of those, and I had to watch a movie on immediately, so I checked out the one and only CDI movie I have, because the other CDI movies are actually video CDs, which I can watch on DVD player or something like that. This is the only actual CDI disc that I own, and that was Top Gun, which I had no problem watching, because this is an absolutely fantastic movie. If you haven't seen Top Gun, again, as I usually say, crawl out from under your rock and buy this movie, and then watch it, because it's absolutely fantastic. It's a classic 80s movie for a reason. It's really, really good if you love 80s movies. I guess if you hate 80s movies, you're not going to want to see this one, but it definitely has that cheeseball kind of 80s feel, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's a bit dated, I will give it that. I haven't watched this movie in a few years. It's actually been a few years since I've checked this out. And watching it again, I was like, yeah, it's pretty dated. There's definitely some cheese factor going on, but it's such a fun movie. Tom Cruise is fantastic in it. A lot of great action, a lot of great drama, a lot of great suspense. It's one to check out. If you haven't seen Top Gun, again, get out from under that rock, go buy this movie. Don't rent it. Buy this movie and watch it. You're gonna love it. Top Gun is fantastic, but we all know that, right? And then I checked out another war-related movie, and that was Fury. I shouldn't even say war-related. It is a war movie. Fury. Fury was just as good as I've been hearing. I've been hearing so many things about Fury and how absolutely fantastic the movie is. So I had my ultraviolet digital copy of it that one of you guys gave me. Thank you very much for that. I, of course, had to check it out. And wow, it was good. I love war movies. I'm a big fan of war movies, especially World War II. There's just something about that genre or the decade of war movies I just can't get enough of. And Fury was absolutely fantastic. The story, I love the story. These people are just so like hard and kind of like downtrodden and just kind of blind to war almost, because they've just been through so much, fighting from Africa all the way to Germany now. I mean, from the very beginning of the war in Africa to the end of the war in Germany. They've been through so much, and they put up so much stuff. They've kind of just become blind to just like everything, and they just don't care. They just kill whatever. Let's just get through this war, and they just again the emotions kind of gone. They've all kind of just snapped and gone kind of just in the war mode. And then you bring in this kid who isn't really supposed to be there. He's not trained for war, and he gets shoved into this war and shoved in with this gang. And it's crazy watching him transform from somebody who's just scared shitless about everything that's going on and just is terrified to kill somebody, doesn't want to kill somebody, and just the fear in his face and just the fear in him just the whole time. He doesn't want to die. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to kill people. He's not supposed to be there, and he keeps saying that. And it's crazy just to watch him go from that to slowly turn into, again, part of the group and become part of the group and just become kind of, downtrodden and just kind of like insensitive to the brutality of war. It's crazy. It's great. And of course the ending is pretty epic, very suspenseful ending. And I just thought it was absolutely fantastic. So if you like war movies, definitely check out Fury. I'm sure you've been hearing great things, and everything you've been hearing has been true. I assure you, it's fantastic. Check out Fury. And then a movie that a lot of you guys said when I picked this up, I said that this one, I missed this one somehow. When this came out, it way over my radar, or under my radar, wherever the radar was. It went way either too far above or too far below, because I missed this one. And a lot of you guys are like, how the hell did you miss this movie? It was fantastic. You got to see it. So I finally had to check it out. And that is The Place Beyond the Pines. Finally watching this one. Like I said, when this movie came out, I did not even know about this one. This was a blind buy. I picked this up going, I've never heard of this movie. Let's check it out. And so many of you guys thought it was absolutely insane that I had never heard of this movie. So I finally checked it out because, again, all of you guys recommended it. And it was really well done. I love these three stories intertwining with one another. It's so interesting the way it's done. It's one story, but again, it's told through three stories that just kind of weave into one another, and it's just really brilliantly told. I've never really seen a story too much like that. I've seen movies with multi multi-stories within it, but the difference is usually when I see a story like that, each story, they might kind of intertwine a little bit, but each story is kind of like its own thing. You're almost paying attention to each story individually, and then you're like, oh, there's little like wink and nods to the last story, something like that, or they're tied together some interesting way or some cheap way or whatever. But this is this is one continuous full story, yet with 3 stories being told. You watch one story, and then that goes into the next story, and then that goes into the next story. But really at no point did I necessarily feel like I was watching 3 separate stories. I felt like I was watching just one continuous movie, and I liked that. I thought that was very interesting and made it very well done. Because again, like I said, in the past, when I watched movies that have multiple stories, each story feels like its own little story, feels like its own little movie, and there's nothing wrong with that, that's fine, but this one was just so interesting and so well done that it was told this way, and I thought it was just, again, brilliant, great movie, the story was fantastic, definitely dark and depressing. It's not a happy story, it's a very depressing story, but it's just the way the story is told through these 3 separate stories, and the way it was just so brilliantly done, in my opinion. Yeah, definitely want to see. You guys told me I need to check this one out. You were absolutely correct. Very upset this one went under my radar. Very upset that when this came out, I completely missed it, because I should have seen this a while ago. So thank you guys for recommending it. It was great. Definitely see The Place Beyond the Pines. You'll love it. All right, then I checked out Beyond the Mat, which again, a lot of you guys said I should check out. Apparently you guys think this is like one of the best wrestling documentaries out there. And it was really well done and just shows you, as it says, the movie Vince McMahon doesn't want you to see. This shows you the dark side of wrestling. This movie is not about, this documentary is not about how wrestling is this great thing. It's all about just the grittiness and behind the scenes and the darkness of wrestling. Everything from, I mean, man, Jake the Snake in this movie. Wow, I have the Jake the Snake like documentary, the box that has like the Jake the Snake documentary and that has all the wrestling matches. I have that. I thought that was depressing because you learn about his life, but at least in that documentary, he's kind of like on the upswing. Things are kind of looking up for him. This documentary is showing him at his worst. They basically started filming him at like the worst, his downfall, when he was just not doing so well. He was hooked on drugs and drinking, and the just hard to watch. You feel so bad for this guy and everything he's gone through. I mean, it was Jake the Snake. When I was a kid, again, I'm not some huge wrestling fan, but wrestling was everywhere when I was a kid, back in like the late 80s, early 90s. And of course, I watched it with my dad. As I said, that's why it's very nostalgic for me. I used to sit down and watch it with my dad all the time. So late 80s, early 90s wrestling, very nostalgic for me. So, watching this guy that I grew up with, Jake the Snake was one of my favorite wrestlers when I was a kid. And just seeing him in this state is just really, really depressing and sad. It's bad. And watching like Mankind, everything he goes through, he's not doing so bad. He's doing pretty well for himself at this point in his career. Mankind was not somebody who I ever watched. He came along after I was way after I was done watching wrestling. But you watching his kids, that makes you feel uncomfortable too, because there's a match between him and The Rock, and Mankind is getting the absolute crap beat out of him by The Rock, and the kids are watching this. They're front row watching this, and they start bawling because they're little kids. To them, their dad's really getting beat up, and it's just so sad. It's like, why are the kids here watching this? Why would you bring your kids to the wrestling match? That just seems like such a bad idea. And of course, later on in the movie, they actually show the video to Mankind of his kids crying, and he says he feels like such a horrible dad. I'm like, well, yeah, you probably should have had your kids watching that stuff. Like I say, Mankind, what's up with your wife? Like, smoking hot. Like, she's pretty good looking. And then your daughter is apparently really good looking now too, because I was doing some research on Mankind on Google. I Googled Mankind, look up some information on him, and pictures of like him and his daughter came up. I'm like, holy crap, this little girl in this documentary turned out to be pretty freaking smoking hot. So congratulations, you have a hot wife and a really hot daughter. Anyway, which, if you guys know who Mankind is, you know why that's kind of weird, because I guess he has a good personality. I don't know. But anyway, so very depressing, very dark. Just, it shows you the worst of wrestling, the worst of the behind the scenes of wrestling. I mean, there's plenty of other characters in this, plenty of other wrestlers featured in this documentary as well, and just showing how they're not doing so well. Basically, a lot of people who used to be great kind of, not necessarily even people who, you know, started doing drugs or anything bad, but people who just, you know, fell out of favor. You're 1 minute you're popular, and then you start your popularity starts to dwindle a bit, and then you have to start wrestling these crappy matches like in the middle of a cornfield and stuff, where nobody, you know, you got 5 people watching you, and you get paid $2, you know, stuff like that. It's pretty sad. So I actually really enjoyed this. Again, I'm not some like big wrestling guy or anything like that, but I even gotta say I enjoy this one. Very well done documentary, but very depressing, very sad, very depressing. But then I checked out a documentary that's very uplifting, and that is Rewind This, which I've already reviewed before because this is like my 100th time checking this movie out. I've seen this movie so many times now. This is one of those documentaries I will just keep going back to. This is one of those documentaries that's sitting here in the library thinking, I don't know, I'm just in the mood to watch something fun, something that I've seen before. What do I want to watch? This is what I'm going to pop in. I love this documentary. I love these people's passions for VHS and whatnot. I'd say the only downfall with this documentary is the fact that it's just VHS. I kind of get up in arms about that a little bit. I sort of hate, as a collector of all formats and a lover of all home movie formats, I get a little bit up in arms when it's like people are really into DVD, or they're really into VHS, or they're really into Blu-ray. You know, they kind of pick the formats they like. It's either one or a couple. Those are the formats they're really into. Screw everything else. Me, I'm like, no, I am a lover and collector of all cinematic formats. I want everything from, you know, Blu-ray, DVD, you know, stuff like that, to things like, you know, HD, VMD. Who the hell has those in their collection? Probably me and like one other guy out there, maybe. So it's things like that. I love all different formats, and that's the only problem I have with this documentary is the fact that, you know, it is just all VHS, which is cool and interesting. It tells you the kind of history of VHS and how things progressed and, you know, where it's going and stuff like that. These people who love it and collect it, and it's cool. It's interesting to see, but I would love to see a documentary just about, you know, cinema collectors, people who just collect like home movie formats. I would love to see something like that. And I'm also kind of bugged they don't talk about Laserdisc enough in here. You know, as you know, they talk about like DVD coming in and like destroying VHS, taking over VHS. But I would love to hear more about Laserdisc, since Laserdisc and VHS were going head to head. I mean, actually, Laserdisc was before VHS, but they were forerunners with each other. They definitely, you know, again, it wasn't necessarily a format war, because VHS was, they do talk about Beta and VHS battling format war. They definitely cover that. But Laserdisc was kind of the high-end collector format. It was really meant, you know, it really became the thing for collectors. I should say it was meant for, but it really became the thing for collectors. You know, better picture quality, better audio, special features, you know, fancy things like that. It was for the collector. VHS was your everyman kind of format. It was kind of the format just, you know, everybody could afford it, everybody could have. And I really wish we would have talked about Laserdisc a bit more, since it was, you know, somewhat competing alongside VHS like the whole time. Really wish they would have talked about that a bit more. They like referenced it like for a second, and that was it. So, so you know, again, is it the perfect documentary? Not necessarily, but is it fantastic? Oh my God, yes! If you have any interest in just collecting cinema or VHS at all, it is worth it. It is definitely something to check out. I love this documentary. I've watched it a dozen times. I'll watch it a dozen more. It's great, and I actually just ordered Adjust Your Tracking. I didn't have that yet. It was kind of bugging me. After I watched this, I went, screw it. I ordered it. I paid like full price for it, but I had to order myself a copy finally, because I really got to see that documentary. All right, then I watched yet another documentary. I watched a lot of documentaries this week. I checked out Aftershock, Beyond the Civil War. Great documentary. Second time actually seeing this. Saw it on the History Channel when it aired, and then watched it again. This is a really well done documentary that tells you basically how the Civil War didn't really end with the ending of the Civil War. Once the Civil War was over, you know, it's not like the racism just left. It's not like slavery just died. You know, it's not like everything just, you know, okay, everything's good now. Didn't really work that way. There was a whole rebuilding of the South, and, you know, what happens now? You got all these free slaves down in the South now. You know, where do they go? What do they do? You know, and the fact that you have all these plantation owners who are now resenting this because they got rich off slaves, and, you know, it was like something like, I forget what number they said, but it was a huge, slavery was a huge industry, of course, in the South, like millions of dollars or something like that, and it was gone in a flash. Just, okay, well, that slavery is gone now, and, you know, nothing you really do about it. So everything from like slave owners basically forcing their slaves to stay on the plantation, to the rise of the Ku Klux Klan, which was crazy to watch. You think that the racism is going to be all just against African Americans, just blacks are screwed, but actually it was a lot more. Everything from they talk about Native Americans and how they were hunted down. Just even people like Republicans, because Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. If you were like a Republican in the South, you might as well have black skin, because they're coming after you too. So it really didn't matter, and it opens up your eyes to know that it's not it wasn't just okay, we hate all these free black people, let's get them. It was a lot more hatred than that. Very interesting. In fact, I just things like this interest me. Watch things like documentaries on I've watched documentaries on the Ku Klux Klan before. Very interesting to know that again, you think Ku Klux Klan, you think people who a group of people who hate black people. Not so much. Apparently, they're third on their list of people they seem to hate. There's people the Ku Klux Klan hates more than African Americans. I didn't know that. It's interesting watching documentaries on the Ku Klux Klan. Check them out. It's disturbing, but fucked up, but interesting. But this was a very well done documentary. I really enjoy this one. I really recommend it. It teaches you a lot about a part of history that kind of gets overlooked. In high school, middle school, elementary school, whatever, you of course learn about the Civil War. The Civil War shoved down your freaking throat in grade school. That's all you ever freaking talk about. You learn it every year. You learn it, but you don't really learn about what happened after the Civil War. It's kind of like, the North won and then South lost and slaves are free. Yay! And that's all you hear. Everything just magically got better. But it's just this huge time, this huge period in time where things really weren't good. It was a horrible, horrible thing, and really, they referred to it as the Second Civil War, and really it kind of was, because things just didn't get better after the war was over. And very interesting documentary, so check it out. I highly recommend it. Again, Aftershock Beyond the Civil War, very well done documentary. And again, if you really like Civil War documentaries, it is something definitely to follow up with. If you watch a Civil War documentary, watch that one, because you're going to learn a lot more about what happened afterwards. This was a fun documentary too. This is How Beer Saved the World. Now, as I mentioned when I picked this up, I don't drink. I've never drank beer my entire life. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I just don't do drugs. It's not my thing. Whatever. That's your thing. Hey, knock yourself out. More power to you. For me, I don't have any interest in doing that. So I've never drank a beer, and I have absolutely no interest to ever drink one, and I probably never will. So this was very interesting, though. I think some of this may have been a bit stretched, but it was still very interesting, and it basically tells you how civilization kind of all evolved from alcohol. And like I said, some of the situations may seem a little stretched. I think without beer, some of the things still may have happened. But it is very interesting to hear about how some things collate to alcohol. And I thought some things maybe weren't so far-fetched. Some stuff really seemed to be, okay, this part of civilization happened because of alcohol. And it's very interesting, very enjoyable. And it was fun to learn how alcohol used to kind of be different. Beer wasn't always what it was, what it is now. Beer used to be apparently very nutritional and kind of good for you, actually. And it was a staple part of your diet. Kids drank beer because again, it was something good for you. And that was very interesting. I'm kind of thinking, why don't we go back to that? All these people out there drinking beer. Let's go back to a healthy beer that is good for you. So I don't know. Ooh, I'm dropping stuff. Very cool documentary. I would definitely recommend checking this one out. If you have any interest in beer or not, doesn't matter. It's very interesting. I learned a lot of stuff that I did not know about beer, about alcohol. Very cool to check out. It also has 2 bonus episodes. It has How Stuff Works, Beer Connoisseurs, which is pretty cool. It teaches you all about how beer is made and whatnot, which is interesting. And then it has Emerald Green, What's Brewing. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Emerald. I know he has 50 shows out there. Does he still have a show? I don't know. He probably still has a show on somewhere. But I've never really watched. This is my first episode of watching anything Emerald's ever done. It's not my thing. He basically cooks teaches a guy how to cook a meal with beer. I wouldn't really recommend that one. But How Beer Saved the World and How Stuff Works, Beer Connoisseurs, both worth checking out. Great documentaries and very interesting. And you're going to learn a whole lot of stuff that you probably didn't know about beer, basically starting civilization. And then because I watched the documentary on beer, I felt, why not watch a movie about wine? And I checked out Bottle Shock. As it says, the next Sideways or Little Miss Sunshine. I really got a question, like, are these people actual film critics? This is Peter Hammond of Hollywood.com. Is this a legitimate film critic? I have a hard time believing that. This movie, the only thing this movie has in common with Sideways, which again is one of my all-time favorite movies, is the fact that it takes place in Napa Valley and it's about wine. That is it. That's like saying, that's like comparing some children's movie to like some slasher film because it has people in it. I mean, like, okay, the main character in this children's movie drives a car. Well, you know what? The main character in the slasher movie I just watched also drove a car. They're like the same movie. Let's compare. Like, no, you can't do that. A movie, God damn it, it pisses me off. I see that like every time I pick up a DVD or Blu-ray and somebody quotes something. They do that so much and it drives me nuts. We're like, this movie's like this. Why? Because it has an actor in it. Like, don't compare this movie. Don't say this movie is the next so-and-so movie because it has the same actor, or because it's by the same director, or because it takes place like in the same area. That does not make it the same damn movie. And Little Miss Sunshine, what the hell does this have to do with Little Miss Sunshine? It wasn't wacky and quirky like Little Miss Sunshine. This movie was nothing like Little Miss Sunshine. It was closer to Sideways than it was Little Miss Sunshine, but it was not anything like Sideways whatsoever either. Anyway, sorry about the tangent. I hate that. The Bottle Shock was actually a very well done movie. I really enjoyed the hell of this one. It all takes place. It's actually based on a true story that I didn't even know about. It's all about this like kind of wine connoisseur over in France. He's a British wine connoisseur over in France. He has an American friend who basically kind of gives him crap because he doesn't have any American wines in his like store, and he basically he's like, why would I want American wine? Why would I want wine from anywhere else other than France? France is the best. We make the best wine. It's just no. Anything else is going to be crap compared to us. So eventually, his friend kind of says, well, why don't you go over, just broaden your horizons. Go over, see what they're doing. They're doing some great things over in the U.S. right now. Just go see what's happening. So he goes over here, starts testing people's wines, ends up finding out they're actually pretty good. It ends up thinking like, damn, this wine actually might be better than France's wine. And he ends up doing this contest, this blind taste contest, actually in France with French, wine connoisseurs, and they actually end up picking an American wine, which of course, to their dismay and to their disbelief, they certainly never thought they would do something like that. In fact, why they're drinking all these wines, they're like trying to pick out which ones are American. Like, oh, this must be an American wine, and they're being really snobby about it. And basically, they're not going to give the award to an American. Well, they end up drinking this one wine, and which we're kind of following the story of the people behind making this wine during the movie also. And they ended up choosing their wine. And this is all based on a true story, which is very interesting. And I think it's pretty cool. And it kind of opened the world to, all kinds of different wines from all over, and basically opened up the world to more than just French wine. So very interesting documentary, sort of, but very interesting, kind of like biographical film, a historical sort of film. There's certainly Hollywood liberties taken in it. There's this whole love story, this whole like love triangle, this part of the movie that I'm sure didn't actually happen. I wonder about the Bill Pullman character. He's the guy making the wine who actually won the contest. But guy's like Disturbed. He just seems to want to fail. Like, it's like you watch this and you're like, is this guy purposely trying to fail in what he's doing? He's trying to make this great wine, and he just keeps like doubting himself, and it just seems like he's purposely trying to fail, which makes you just want to jump into the screen and punch this guy in the face and say, just try. You're doing a good job. Just keep up with it. He's such he's just so negative. It just drives you nuts. Whereas his son's a lot more upbeat and positive. And of course, they're butting heads the whole time. And that's another little side story. But all in all, this was a really well done movie. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It is nothing like Sideways. It is nothing like Little Miss Sunshine. Peter Hammond, you are an idiot. But it is worth checking out. Cinema Sickness will not compare to those other movies. Cinema Sickness is going to say, it's a great movie. See it. That's what it should say. It should say, great movie. See it. Cinema Sickness. CinemaSickness.com. That's what it should say. Anyway, so Bottle Shock, great movie. Check it out. And finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about quickly is Paperman, which I had no idea what this movie was going into. I didn't know. Was it a superhero movie? Like, what is this? A lot of you guys said it was good, but I heard nothing about it. You guys just said it was a good movie. And that was about it. Popped it in, and pleasantly surprised. This movie is really well done. I love these two characters, Jeff Daniels, Emma Stone. Very different in age and whatnot, and kind of start this kind of inappropriate relationship. But it's not really a sexual relationship. They end up just becoming friends, but it's still kind of really weird. I love the twist ending, and I'm not gonna give it away. I'm not gonna spoil this one, but it had a very cool twist ending that I actually it was one of those twist endings where you're like, damn it, I should have seen that coming. How did I miss that? I'm an idiot. Like, when you see it, you want to just smack yourself in the face. If you didn't see it coming, you want to just smack yourself in the face because you should have seen it coming. You really should have. I foolishly did not. I don't know how. I don't know how I missed that, but there were signs all over the place, and I unfortunately missed kind of the little bit of a twist ending. But it's great watching these two very kind of, I don't say disturbed, but these two characters definitely with issues. We'll say that. They definitely have their issues. And watching them kind of, become friends, two very different people, but with similar issues, they become friends and end up helping each other out in the end. And it's very interesting. So I got to say, I highly recommend it. Very well done. It's got some quirky moments in it. It's fun. It's entertaining. But, again, with these very disturbing characters who have some definite issues. But, again, in the end, end up helping each other out. And, of course, Ryan Reynolds in a superhero costume is just awesome. I love it. It's such an interesting part of the movie. So I'd recommend Paper Man. Again, I'm not going to get into it too much. I don't want to spoil the ending for you guys. It is a cool twist ending. See it. It is worth checking out. So anyway, guys, there you go. That's everything I watched over the last week. A lot of great stuff. Again, I pretty much recommend, I guess, everything for the most part. Again, this is only something you're going to watch if you are, a sucker for spoof movies. If spoof movies are your guilty pleasure, see it. It's actually one of the better ones in my opinion, but nothing you need to see. Everything else, again, 50 Shades of Grey. This is how everything I see in the theaters or on or watch on Ultraviolet. This is how I remember what I want to talk to you guys about. I write it on a freaking piece of paper, or in this case, I had a thing of napkins. So I wrote on napkins. Again, 50 Shades of Grey. It's not my type of movie. It's not going to be for everybody. But I would have to say, again, as I said, if you want to see it because it wasn't that bad of a movie. It wasn't horrible like everybody says it is. I was kind of just like, I walked out going, it was all right, I guess. It was okay. I mean, for what it is, I guess it's all right. It didn't bug me, except for the fact that it was rather disturbing. But that's all I got to say. If you want to see it, don't necessarily believe all the hate. Go check it out. Judge for yourself, or you'll probably rent it soon. Give it a rent at least. But if it's nothing you want to see, then you don't need to see it because you're not gonna enjoy it. So 50 Shades of Grey, see it if you want. And everything else I checked out, all worth seeing. So anyway, guys, that's it. So again, hope you're having an absolutely fantastic weekend. So far, so good for me. Definitely looking forward to sitting down and watching some more great movies so I can review them in about a week or so. So like I always say, if you like this video, please give me a like. Just click the little thumbs up tab down below. It takes 2 seconds, but it means the absolute world to me. Also, if you're not already subbed, please do. I do a brand new daily sickness video for you guys every single day. Reviews, collection updates, unboxings, cinema hunting videos, just looks into my collection, looks into my sickness for cinema every single day. So hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And also, if you're not already over at cinemasickness.com, down below there's a link. Click on that link. Head over there. Check it out. There's a lot more to see there than just these videos. Everything Cinema Sickness is there. I post about what I'm currently watching. If I'm out hunting and I find something interesting, I post a picture. Deals that I find that are going on, whether I'm in stores or find them online, I post about deals. I post news. All kinds of stuff over at cinemasickness.com. Everything cinemasickness.com is at cinemasickness.com. And there's an FAQ page. My entire collection's listed there. Check it out. Also, while there, you can check out Team Sickness. Just click the Team Sickness tab over at cinemasickness.com. If you like what I do, you're going to like what they do. A lot of collection updates, reviews from those guys and gals. Check out their videos. A lot of great stuff. And of course, also while there, be sure to click on the Merchandise tab and purchase yourself a Cinema Sickness sticker, a Cinema Sickness button, or a Cinema Sickness t-shirt. I would really appreciate the support. And 2 new t-shirt designs coming really, really soon. I did post about that at cinemasickness.com. So check that out if you want to see the new t-shirt designs. There's a really cool VHS related one and a really cool Laserdisc related one, which I'm really excited about the Laserdisc one. I'm looking forward to ordering one of those t-shirts because I'm going to wear that one proudly. So again, 2 new designs coming very soon. I'd say within the next week or so, maybe by next weekend they'll be up. We'll see, hopefully soon. So anyway, guys, again, that is it. So like I always say, again, if you like this video, please give me a like. I really appreciate it. It takes 2 seconds and it means the world to me. And again, hope you're having an absolutely fantastic weekend. So, all right, I'm going to go, guys. I need something to drink. I made a mistake and just talked to you guys for 40 minutes without having a glass of water. What was I thinking? I don't know. I always do that. Why? I don't know, guys. But anyway, that's it. Oh, and tomorrow, unboxing video. Yeah, I just want to tell you guys, pretty epic unboxing video for you guys tomorrow. I'm going to have a lot of stuff. Like today, all of a sudden, like a boatload of packages arrived. It was pretty awesome. I really wanted to talk to you guys about that today, but I figured let's get these reviews out of the way, and we'll do the unboxing tomorrow. So stay tuned tomorrow for tomorrow's Daily Sickness, where we're going to have a nice unboxing. Cinnamon and I are going to be cracking open some boxes and showing you guys some awesome stuff. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, seriously, I'm going to shut up now and go. So that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you tomorrow on Sunday. Bye.